Welcome to the roundtable discussions here at the Manila Times. My name is Bing Kimpo and I'm a contributor to the Times, and I'll be your host today as we feature Moneymax, the Philippine presence of Pan-Asian comparison platform Compare Asia Group. Now, joining us today is Moneymax Head of Sales, Greg Aguilar. Good morning, Greg.
Morning, Bing.
All right. I'm fascinated by the name of your parent company, Compare Asia Group. That name pretty much sums up what you guys do, right?
Yes, correct. I mean, our main thing is to be able to offer people the option to compare, and we want to really make that transaction easy for people, right? I think in the past, when people are trying to compare, they're having to do the research on their own, understand the products on their own, and so really we want to kind of make this easier for them.
It does get, particularly as you go into stuff like insurance and finance, there will be so many buzzwords or so many product descriptions that you're not. The industry probably isn't speaking the same language, and someone, I guess, needs to translate that for them, right? For the people.
Yeah, you're correct. I mean, in this day and age that we live in, right? There's so many kind of financial products that are out there. I think new products are being released left and right, and really for the average consumer, they can be a little bit difficult to kind of understand. And so what we want to do is we want to kind of translate this a little bit into layman's terms, help them understand specifically what they're buying so that they see the value of these products, and then help them with the decision as well to, to help them acquire something that makes sense for them.
All right. In a sense, let's use the term loosely. Translation, is that the big idea behind Moneymax?
Yes, I mean, translation in the sense that we want to make the message simple and make the concepts easier for people to understand. Our main thing is we want to be able to educate our customers. We want to empower them to make decisions that make sense for them, whether that is financial or, let's say, other needs. I think here in the Philippines, financial literacy isn't as strong as we would like it to be. I think there is a study by Standard & Poor that says something like a large or significant percentage of Filipinos are considered financially illiterate. I think this is in the high 70s. And really what we want to do is we want to be a part of the system that changes that, right? Because at the end of the day, if people better understand the products that they're buying, this can translate to other things and they can enjoy other benefits. They can divert funds to other necessities such as savings or, let's say, insurance or retirement.
Okay, so you currently compare offers for car insurance, credit cards, loans, and gadget protection.
Yes, so our core business here in the Philippines is car insurance. When we first started out 5.5 years ago, that was the main industry that we got into. We're also in the banking segment, so we do help customers evaluate the different kinds of credit card options and personal loans that they have available to them. The Gadget Protect product is relatively new. It's something that we're incredibly excited about. This is a online straight-through processing product that allows people to purchase a repair service for their phone. As you know, a lot of Filipinos use cell phones. I mean, it's kind of ubiquitous here. It's the device of choice. And so it makes sense that if they're making significant investment in their cell phone, that they would want to protect this as well.
All right, let's talk about car insurance because that's as an example, because that's your bread and butter, so to speak. All right, are you covering pretty much the whole gamut, all of the insurance companies that are out there? So if I go into your website and I try to shop around for an insurance provider, do I get to cover all of the providers that are out there?
No, we currently don't work with all of the insurance companies out in the market right now. I believe there's something like 55 of them, so that's quite a lot. We currently work with 6 insurance providers. This year, we're looking to increase that number to 9 to 10, so we're excited to onboard additional partners to give our customers additional options. Naturally, we want to be able to kind of curate some of the partnerships that we have as well. Service is important to us. A part of our car insurance offering is that we will provide first layer claim support. And so the kind of support that we get from our partners as well is highly important because the customers kind of associate us with our partners, right? So by elevating that level of service, then the idea is we can have customers come back to us and trust us for repeat business.
Right. I've got to ask you this. Do I get a better deal going through you?
Yeah, no,
or do we go straight to a provider?
That's a really good question. I think that's something that a lot of our customers ask us. I think when they see some of the rates that are published on the website, they're kind of skeptical, like in terms of getting a good deal. The concept is fairly straightforward, though, in the sense that since we work with a lot of partners and we're able to acquire a lot of customers, we're in a better position to negotiate for better rates. And really, we do that so that our customers can benefit from it, right? I think an analogy that I can make is if you were looking to buy a hotel room or reserve a hotel room for yourself, if you were to just go to, I won't name drop any hotels, but like Hotel A's website, right? You might.
There's a commercial on my mind right now with a very pretty girl, but that's okay.
You might find that you might be seeing like rack rates, right? Or if you were to call the hotel itself, they would give you the standard rate. But if you were to search for this online, and that's I think the great thing about online comparison platforms and other aggregators is that they're able to show you different rates and actually leverage the volume that they can channel to their partners and return that to the customer.
Okay, so to the customer, you're a comparison platform, but to the providers, you're also, in a sense, an aggregator.
Yes.
Who exercises a lot of muscle because you've got so many customers in tow.
I think when you say a lot of customers, that's still quite subjective. I mean, for us internally, we've been glad to see kind of year-on-year growth, and we're working hard to continue that trend into 2020. I think in terms of the overall volume that we represent, let's say compared to the market, right? I think I read this morning that there is something like 300,000 cars that were sold, more or less, in 2019. So what we represent in terms of that volume for car insurance as it relates to the total market is still quite small. And I would say that is fairly true for our other peers in the market as well.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of room for growth there, but our partners, they understand that the future is kind of like online as it relates to consumers buying their car insurance policies, right? And really the value that we present to them is that we are able to save them certain marketing costs, because that way they don't have to market online themselves, and they can just work with partners such as us to enhance their brand and generate additional volume for them.
You're spending a lot of time and effort, and let's put it this way, you're spending a lot of money developing content for financial literacy, for educating. You've hired people for that, and you're constantly updating what you're putting out on your website. So that costs a lot, which then begs the question, how do you guys actually make money?
How do we make money? That's
you're spending a lot of money on the education side. So how do you make money?
That's a really good question, right? And we want to be transparent to our customers. This is part of one of our core values. In terms of, let's say, how we make money, we make a small percentage from the sales or the traffic we're able to generate for our partners. We do not pass any of that to our customer, right? We want our services to remain free because the moment you start charging for this, then it really kind of disincentivizes people to use your service. When it comes to, let's say, the cost that we are investing for content and, let's say, other marketing activities, for us, we consider this as an investment, right? Really, if we want to be in a position where we're a trusted online resource, we live in a day where a lot of people are still kind of skeptical over what they see online. They prefer kind of like the relationship aspect of this. Then we want to make sure that we're putting out good content, that it's unbiased content, so that our customers trust what we are putting online, right, as credible resource. And really, if we can be that for people, then we'd be also in a better position to offer them products, knowing that we're not actively pushing one or another provider, and that our main thing is actually putting the customer first.
Okay. You've been around, as you say, for the past 5 years and a half already. So what have you learned over that period? I mean, a few years already.
What have we learned? Well, we've learned that we still have a long ways to go, I think, in when it comes to bringing people online. I'll give you an example. Like when it comes to car insurance policies, a lot of people still want a physical copy. So we're trying to change that behavior. We're trying to get them to understand that soft copies are sufficient. They're actually probably more convenient in most cases because you don't need to lose them. We've also kind of learned that when it comes to financial literacy, we still have plenty more to do. A lot of our customers, when we are talking to them or when they're in the process of making a particular purchase, don't fully understand some of the basic concepts of what it is that they're buying. And so that can be slightly concerning because they're making a purchase that is to protect an asset can be considered of significant value. But if they don't know why they're making this purchase or how it will directly benefit them, that's something to be said for kind of like the state of our customers at the moment, right? I think on the banking side, we've learned a lot as well. We've learned that we need to do better in terms of offering our customers different ranges of products to tailor like their different needs. So there's real opportunity there as well. And we've learned that, at the end of the day, we want to be seen as kind of a credible and reliable resource online.
All right, let's take that. So your insurance, the people who come to you to read about insurance, you're learning that they don't really know what an insurance, they're not
Sure.
so aware why you're supposed to get it. And all that. So how do you address that? And haven't the insurance companies already successfully done it? What is behind that? It seems to be an impenetrable wall because insurance has been around for decades.
Yeah.
And the concept of it, what has made it then? What is stopping us from embracing it more fully? I suppose that's the question there.
So I think it's a combination of things. I cannot speak to the efforts of our partners or for any other of the insurance companies out there. I'm sure they spend a considerable amount of time and effort investing in educating their consumers as well, because it indirectly benefits them in terms of customers understanding the value of purchasing this product. I think as it relates to, let's say, auto insurance, a lot of people, from what we've seen, view this as a fulfillment of a requirement. 90, like a large percentage of our consumer base, 80 to 90%, are customers who have taken on a mortgage to be able to pay their vehicle. And a lot of the times, these are things that they have not actively forecasted as an additional expense to take care of, right? So, as you mentioned, what are the things that we're doing to kind of address this? This is part of the reason why we've made a significant investment in the content that we put out there, just to kind of conduct some public service, right?
Sure.
To educate people how insurance works, why it's required, and what are the natural benefits to someone purchasing this, right? Like, because people are thrifty, if they were to get into an accident, they may not immediately have those funds prepared to be able to cover them in such case, right? I think in terms of the other things that we are doing, we're trying to also work with affiliates. We conduct free seminars or talks to kind of facilitate the additional education there as well, not just for insurance, but let's say for the need to get a credit card or start accruing credit. So yeah, I mean those are some of the things that we're doing.
Okay, with regard to insurance in particular, one of the things which I see in your website which you're promoting is that you really assist and try to help a customer once something goes wrong, once they have to make a claim, which is really one of the things which, anecdotally, I think people are having difficulty with, or see, rather, let's put it that way. Anecdotally, people see that as a huge problem, like just the hassle of going through the entire claim process. But you make particular mention of that as you're there. So what service do you provide to your customers in terms of claims?
So you're correct in the sense that claims is usually a kind of pain point. And I think the reason why that is the case is because claims are going to be different for every single individual, right? As much as we would like to kind of standardize the treatment or the service, everyone's like accident is kind of like case to case or like unique.
Yeah.
So what that does is it kind of makes it challenging to ensure the kind of like the level of service that we provide. A lot of the challenges are actually born from the fact that people have a limited understanding of the requirements or how claims processes work, right? And I think, let's say, some of the terminology also that is used in the industry doesn't make it easy for people to kind of pick up or understand these concepts. So what we do, for example, when we are issuing policies, is we send a lot of additional material to help people understand, like if they were to come into a claims, how this would work. And what are the steps that they would need to do. In terms of how we facilitate for our customers, we highly recommend that they come to us first so that we can act as sort of a first layer in reviewing their claims concerns so that by the time that we channel this to our provider, that everything is kind of in order, right? For the instances where there are challenges, let's say with a particular claim or there's dispute, really what we will try to do is we will try to advocate for our customer depending on the legitimacy of the claim, and we will work with our partners to kind of ensure that the level of service is up to our customer's expectation.
We were discussing this earlier before we went on air, and it seems, to me at least, that part of your service to your customers is that apart from being a comparison platform, in a sense, you're really a translator. I mean, let's use that term very
Sure.
loosely. You're a translator of sorts because a lot of these terms to the ordinary guy on the street, they can be very, very daunting, can be very, very complicated, and I guess part of your job really is to make this more plain spoken and understandable to your prospective customers. I mean, to the customers that you've got, your audience, and the prospective customers of these services that you are, in a sense, brokering.
Right. So I mean, I think there's two things there. Like one is education, right?
Yeah.
Like you mentioned that we are kind of acting as a translator, and I think that's particularly true. That's why there's so much emphasis in terms of putting out content and actually taking the time to talk to our customers who are looking to make a purchase. We pride ourselves on kind of being unbiased. So when people are looking at options, even when they talk to one of our agents, we make sure that we offer them sets of comparisons, right? So that, like, let's say if we were having a conversation and you had seen the different options online, that when you would have a conversation with me, I would still take you through different options and not just kind of like push one to you.
Okay.
So, working off of the ability to translate, again, like we want to try and make these concepts easier to understand, because if they do, then it makes them easier for customers to purchase as well, right? It's a lot easier for someone to see the value of purchasing something if they understand how this is going to benefit them.
All right. You then mentioned the term engagement, and I think that's pretty key right now, because I can imagine that someone whose interest is sort of piqued would then want to talk to a person, right?
Yeah.
To one of your agents, as you say. Now, how do you handle this whole customer service requirement then? Call centers. How do you do that?
Yeah, so we have a telesales team. I mean, the way our customer journey is built is that we take in a lot of the inquiries online. So people will come to us via various channels. Either they'll come onto our website and they'll leave their information with us, and they'll identify already kind of what products they're interested in. We are also present on Facebook, so people will leave comments on, say, some of the content that we'll leave out, or they'll message us directly on our Facebook chat. And when that happens, that information is then channeled to our telesales team, and we'll reach out to our customers and engage in that discussion. We'll tell them, like, hey, we saw that you were interested in a particular product. How can I help you in terms of, like, understanding what you're looking for, and really that kind of facilitates the act of purchase or the act of application.
Okay. You mentioned Facebook chat right now, and knowing that this is a complex thing to the mind of, I mean, you're educating people, so they naturally want to ask, if you get their interest, they'll naturally want to ask more. So in that sense, I'm not so sure whether a chat bot would be appropriate. Am I right? This would this thing be chatbot friendly, or is it something that which a real live person has got to be behind?
I think the future is probably something geared towards that. We have ventured and tested kind of like the viability of chatbots also as it relates to our service. Sure. What we found is that, as you mentioned, because of the complexity of the products, and let's say because of the nature of some of the messages, that they don't always conform with how chatbots are built. Okay. And I would say chatbot technology still has a way to go in order for it to be conversational. So for now, we at least for Moneymax, we've identified that this is not necessarily for us. We identified that there's probably more value in having human interaction, whether that be chat or whether that be conversation or even through email.
Okay. Obviously, one of the concerns right now online is the idea of data privacy and security. And I ask that particularly because I'm not sure whether you share this experience, but a number of people do get a lot of phone calls left and right, invited to check out this insurance, asking them whether they've had these credit cards, down to a vacation which they probably don't even want or don't even need or can't even afford. So it seems that there are so many lists that are just freely roaming around there, and that list brokers are a dime a dozen, I guess. So, how do you value a person's privacy, and does a person's information actually sit with you guys?
So, I mean, that's a great question, right? Like, data privacy is something that is extremely important to us at Moneymax, something that we take very seriously. We're actually in the process of rolling out some infrastructure changes to kind of improve the way we share data with some of our partners. Customer data that is shared with us resides with us. It resides in kind of like a secure system that we have, that's web-based. In terms of, let's say, the products or the information as they relate to the products, naturally there is a requirement to share the bare essentials, right? Like if you're applying for a credit card or personal loans, there is consumer data that needs to be shared. And in that sense, we are also transparent with our customers in terms of what we are going to pass on to our partners in order to kind of be able to fulfill the product that they're looking for. When it comes to, let's say, sharing of data, though, we do not share this with any other third parties. I mean, again, we want our customers to be able to trust us that the information that they're sharing with us is secure. I mean, you are talking about financial information, whether or not that is income, age, even the kind of car that you have. And so this is highly important for us, and we will continue to invest in this for the future and make additional advancements to work with our partners to guarantee that kind of data protection for our consumer.
Right. And that works out easy for you, and that you can keep that because on the insurance side, you're actually an insurance agent yourself. I mean, as Moneymax, right?
Yes, I mean, we are an accredited broker here. I think that is one of the unique value propositions that we have as compared to some of our peers.
Sure.
I think that was an investment that the company decided to take on early on. And really part of the reason why we decided to do that is because it also helps with the level of service that we're able to provide to our customers, right? They interact with us, and the policies also are channeled through us.
Okay, let's go back to the customer base right now. You said earlier while we were discussing this that much of your base is pretty much Metro Manila centric or Greater Manila area centric, and that a lot of it is heavily on the younger side.
Yeah, so a lot of the people that kind of consume our information, use our service for applications, or go through us to buy products fall within like the millennial range. So that's kind of a loose term, but I think for age ranges, they fall within the 25 to 34 age bracket.
So you're kicking me out of this site already. I'm just
Age should be a state of mind, right?
All right, yeah.
For those that are of higher age brackets, we also get a fair share of traffic there. But a lot of them really are young professionals who are coming onto their own, looking to educate themselves, looking to acquire products that make sense for them. You're correct that a lot of our traffic is, or a lot of our consumer base is based in the greater Metro Manila area. Over the years that we've been here in the industry, we've noticed that our presence, despite it only being online, has started to increase in the other cities in the Philippines, which we're also incredibly excited about. We start to see a lot of growth in, for example, areas like Metro Cebu, Davao, Baguio, and as well for, let's say, the OFW contingent out there. I think that was something that was quite surprising to us, that there is significant traffic, there's significant customers who are coming to us here for either content, education, or some type of product or service.
Well, I can understand that the overseas market will be significant because, after all, I think for many of the products that you're taking on, or at least that the related products, the money will come from the overseas Filipinos. For a number of them,
yeah, I mean,
whether it's an insurance to a car or an insurance to a house or whatever, the product itself, the house or the car, will come from the overseas. And the payment will come from overseas, and hence they would want all of the allied costs to come to be visible or viewable, or they'd want to have an awareness or a say in what they're going to be spending on, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that speaks to the kind of consumer that they are. One of the insights that we've found over the years that we've been working here is that there's typically a relationship between the breadwinner and, let's say, the one that is in charge of managing the finances in the household. Okay. So whether that be the husband or the wife, we get into a lot of interactions where someone is doing the research, someone is responsible for the purchase, and then they communicate this and they share this information with, let's say, the primary customer.
Yeah. The primary sponsor.
And so what we want to do is we want to help actually educate both, right? Okay. It's shared responsibility, which is great. And based off of the data that we see, a lot of our customers are actually women. I think 60% of the traffic that we have are women, with the exception of car insurance, where that skews slightly to men.
Okay. Any insights with regard to women? I mean, to the fact that much of your base is comprising women?
I think one of the insights is that a lot of women out there are the ones who have taken it upon themselves to be responsible for the financial responsibilities of the household.
Between us, guys, the women are more responsible, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
I won't comment any further, but yes, I would agree with you.
The ring is something that you want. Anyways, the other question, related to that, you were mentioning Baguio, Cebu, and Davao as areas of growth outside of Metro Manila. And right away, what jumped to my mind is that these are huge BPO, these places have huge BPO concentrations as well. And I guess that leads to a question, is the growth of the BPO sector in areas outside of Metro Manila, we're talking about, let's say, Gadget, Bacolod, Iloilo, are the growth of these centers, are they reflected in your traffic as well? I mean, as these centers have grown, are people more and more coming to your site as well?
Yes, I think definitely when let's say it comes to the consumption of content, we do see that there is an increase in traffic during the later times of the night. So let's say from 1 o'clock in the morning to 3 in the morning, our website and our blogs do encounter, an increase in traffic. Like, I think the natural expectation is that these would be slower times. As it relates to products, we do start to see some of that translate as well. Naturally, the growth in the BPO sector has led to professionals coming onto additional funds, and they're able to kind of acquire additional assets. And as such, to protect those assets, they're looking for products that make sense for them financially. So on the car insurance side, we do see an increase in that. On the banking side, we're still kind of evaluating, or we're still looking into the relationships between BPO sector and, let's say, application for financial products. I would say on the whole, there is a great demand for people to acquire some type of credit facility, right? Whether that be a credit card, a personal loan, or a different type of loan. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to use that data to understand where we can kind of facilitate and help that audience fulfill their need.
All right. I don't know whether you could actually fairly comment on this, but I'll try anyway. So you're saying that there's a huge demand right now from younger people, from BPO workers, and I guess let me just expand that. I suppose there's a lot of demand. There's the demand for content from your side, from people who are engaged in the informal economy or gig workers, not necessarily folks who've got their 2316s or their full or are fully employed, full-time employed. And naturally, this may be a bit difficult in terms of offering them access to certain products. From what you are seeing, is there a huge demand, and should the providers, the product providers, the banks and the insurance companies, should they be looking at this as well already?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, I think they are looking at this. They're probably evaluating how they can tap into that potential. When it comes to, let's say, people that are not formally employed, or let's say even entrepreneurs, what we want to do is we want to try and help them understand how they can put themselves in a better position, let's say, to acquire a product or to apply a product from a bank. If that's not possible, then we also are working with non-banking financial institutions to kind of address that segment. There's a lot of companies out there. You see players kind of coming into the market every other month, and this is basically to highlight that there's a large need that needs to be addressed. So we try to match them as well and direct customers who fall into that segment to products that they'll probably be in a better position to be eligible for.
All right, moving into that, 2020. So you've got an idea right now of where the market's going, what is, what the behavior is. What are you doing in response to that 2020?
So I think there's still a significant push to kind of like digitize or bring a lot of people online. So we're definitely expending a lot of effort when it comes to that. We're making a lot of investments when it comes to, let's say, onboarding straight-through processing products. Our main goal is to kind of expand currently the core business. As I mentioned earlier, there's significant opportunity here, and in terms of the kind of like the market share that we represent, we're still very, very small in terms of the overall size of the industry, so we want to grow that business to kind of enhance kind of like our offering. Same thing goes for the banking side, whether that be through different banking products and whatnot. And I think definitely for this year, we want to become more active as it relates to just the community, right? Okay. So, for example, creating additional content or working with more affiliates. We do a lot of work for like the Manila Times, for example. We write content there, and let's say other kind of media outlets. So we want to kind of enhance our presence online so that people will kind of trust, have easier access to the kind of information that we can share, right?
Build the brand and they will come.
Yes, exactly. Well said.
All right. Okay. And that wraps up today's roundtable discussions here at the Manila Times with Moneymax and their head of sales, Greg Aguilar. Greg, thank you very much. This has been Bing Kimpo. Thank you for watching.